Greetings and welcome to Metaphysical Awakenings with Barbara and Eric. This is episode 10. That's right, we've reached the double digits now. And our episode is called Celebrate the Small Wins.
Yes.
I guess that's kind of appropriate for double digits. Hey, it's a small win that we've been going for 10 episodes straight.
Right. And we find more and more. Oh, that'll talk. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good subject. Write that one down.
All right, get a pencil.
Yeah.
What is it?
Whatever is next, we need to introduce somebody before we do anything else. Our executive producer, chinks through our adventures here, and I want everybody to meet our executive producer, Ladybug.
Oh, Ladybug for the win. Yay.
I have to be careful because she'd be the star of the show, you know.
They're going to be asking every episode after this, where's our executive producer?
We'll have to introduce her first and then let her go back onto her pillow.
That's
just
right.
love her.
All right. Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you, Ladybug. I just felt remiss if I didn't include her, you know.
You might have heard her in some past audio recordings. Any of the little chink, 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 chinks, that's her, by the way. So,
yeah. Precious.
Yeah, so speaking of celebrating wins, and this is not a small win at all. This is a huge win. This is your album drop is happening next weekend on October 13th. 2004, for those of you who are watching 100 years in the future.
2024.
Oh, yeah.
You said 2004?
I did. 2024. I know what year it is.
That's hilarious. Yes. I'm very excited. I've been writing music and rewriting words for years and years, and I just never really took myself seriously enough to put it together and call it an album. And what do you do when you've got blues and then you've got God songs, and then we wound up with a rap, and boy, what do you title it?
So, Barbara, we totally accomplished this like in a week, right?
Yes. A week. Right.
No, this was probably two years in the making?
Yeah. You think you're gonna, your song, and you're gonna get in there and you're gonna make a recording, and then, oh gosh, that was just a little bit off there. Maybe we should do it again. So I'm driving back over from where I live on the East Coast to Orlando, and then we have to redo that, and maybe there's a hiccup with the electricity or a bump in the music, and things you would never ever think about, right?
Absolutely.
These little tiny things that would mess up a big thing if you're not patient enough to allow yourself to fix the little things. You can't ignore them, because then, if we put it out with all the little faux pas that we had and along the way, people would go, "Oh my gosh, are they for real? They're professionals."
Yeah, this has our names on it. We definitely want to be professional on
We've got to
this.
be careful with that. But yeah, that's a good example of the small things.
And one of the reasons I love working with you, Barbara, is that your attitude each week that you would come in, it was always positive. You'd recognize whenever we weren't quite there with something, but you would still celebrate the small wins. Like, hey, we now have the background vocals for this track, or hey, no, we have the instrumentals for this, and like, this is great. Mm-hmm. As opposed to, I've worked with many other clients in my years as far as music production, and a lot of times they are very dismissive of like, oh, this is not there, this is not there. They would forget to celebrate the small wins.
Oh, it's the small things that make your life full of joy.
And with an album, that does like the final product right there.
Right.
But for those of you who are not familiar with the music industry, there's a lot. I think you probably already intuitively know this. There's a lot that goes behind an album before it becomes the album. It's not like the artist goes in for a week and makes the album. Unless you're maybe Taylor Swift. She might be expressive.
She might be able
Good job,
to.
Taylor.
Yeah, God bless her. She is one of those exotic talents, beauties. She's just, and her soul is beautiful. Mm-hmm. So no wonder she is all things.
Yeah, but I think this was like her eighth or ninth album that she was able to do in a week or something
Right.
like that. Whereas, so she obviously had the experience of many other albums where I'm sure that she took a long time to go through the struggles
Sure.
and the challenges and also the triumphs of making this album work. And I would imagine, based on her positive attitude and her continuous
Yeah.
of being the top end of her career, that she was celebrating these small wins along the way as well.
I agree with you. She's one of those people that is just if I had to compare her to something, it would be like a constantly full bottle of bubbles, just constantly with the wonderful joy and bubbles in the air.
Yeah, she's definitely the favorite of all my piano students who want to learn popular songs.
Love
It's
that.
always a Tay-Tay song. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, so celebrating the small wins, I think that's something that some of us, including myself, forget to do in our daily life. And in the last episode, I was taking it from the 10,000 feet view, but I guess I'm bringing it down to like the 0 feet view.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we woke up. We have the breath.
Mm-hmm.
We're able to breathe.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Count your blessings.
Not everyone is able to breathe.
Right.
And breathe well.
Oh
so
my.
right there, celebrate that win. That is a huge win. Even if you are paralyzed, if you're not able to walk, able to run, if you have the breath in your body, that's a win right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to minimize anybody's, the sad parts of life, but there again, we came here to this earth plane to learn, and all of the bad things that happen to us, we're not meant necessarily we're not meant to take them personally.
Sure.
We're meant to glean why is this happening? What are you trying to show me? What am I supposed to grow from here? Mm-hmm. And it's the little things that walk, like you said with Taylor Swift, all of her little things where she's kept that constant joy and happiness. She's just able to walk in and she has great joy and happiness walking into her room.
That's right. Absolutely. So there is the end point, and then there's also the process of getting there. And a lot of times, as humans, we can be fixated on the end point. Once I make $100,000, once I make $1 million, once I have a house, once I am married, once I'm you name it, then I will be happy.
Oh boy, yes. Yes.
And then if you've read enough autobiographies or just articles or talked to enough people, those people, once they've reached those points, were like, no, I'm not necessarily happy. I feel like I'm lacking something once I've reached that $100,000 a year. Now I want $1 million a year. Or once I've reached $1 million a year, now I want $10 million a year. That end point is doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be happy or satisfied once you get to that point. So it's really just the process of getting there that makes you happy. Taking those small steps and celebrating those small wins. So I teach at a college, and it's a unique one that has, instead of everyone's in semesters and have 4 or 5 courses, it's just basically one course a month. And I always encourage those students, celebrate your wins each week. Hey, I completed these assignments. Or at the end of the month, hey, I succeeded in this course. Yes, sure, that's a small part of the degree program, but you gotta celebrate the wins along the way, because
right.
it creates that momentum, that forward progression, that progression of moving through fear, which has been a big
goodness
overarching topic of our entire channel. Is just
Right.
about moving through fear, and I believe through personal experience that just celebrating those small wins along the way helps us eliminate the fear.
Well, understanding that, everything in life is meant to guide you, help you, and make you get to a point of happiness. You want to find love in every situation, even when it's not the best situation. It's okay, because we're here to learn, not take things personally, and the tiny things along the way will create whether we're going to be happy at the end or miss all of the happiness on the way and sit there and go, oh my God, yay, I'm done with this. I don't feel a thing. Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find your glass half full, and you alone are responsible for your happiness.
Truth.
If you're not enjoying life, then you need to create a situation to look forward to. Get to that situation, enjoy it, and then create another, and another, and another, and another. And find where that niche, that joy, that happiness, that peace that comes to your soul when you have found where you are supposed to be in this world. The end means nothing. That's just another door to close on your way to the next project. That's right. Or place. Yeah, it's, we talk a lot about the album is finished and yay, I should go woo, 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 and move on. No, it is my goal to take those songs, go out, speak about how some of them were created, downloaded, if you will, mm-hmm. and talk about those, sing a little bit, and then, share my ups and downs through the whole thing, so that maybe somebody else can glean the ways and means or the desire to want to move ahead on their project.
Yeah.
Inspiration.
And there were a lot of ups in the process of this, but there was a few downs, times to where one of us got sick or had an external issue, or work became unmanageable, or there was a technical issue where my files were corrupted, or like
well, and at the end of the day, for me, it was, so what? It'll come when it's supposed to come.
And it's kind of trusting in God's time is a thing. And that's something that kind of an overarching thing that we've talked about this channel. A lot of times when we want something to happen, it doesn't exactly happen when we want it to happen.
It won't happen when we want it to happen. Everything is in God's time. And when you let go of that attachment to an outcome, voila. Now you have the keys to the kingdom, don't you?
Oh, I'm so glad you transitioned into that right there. So our good friend Michael, he has the song, God Never Says No. And then right after that, he says, not yet, or I have something better. Right. So if things are not happening on your time, please know, there's a good chance they're going to happen later, or maybe there's something better that you haven't even considered.
God's got something better in mind. You won't even have to turn down that turn. He'll give you a little waver in the road. Oh, that way's much better. But you have got to take the time to watch, look, glean. Things happen in patterns. Mm-hmm. Do you know that? When you look for the patterns in life, God is leading you every single day to your highest and best possible outcome for your life, not your projects, your whole world.
That's right. Bigger than what you are in the midst of.
Yeah. And am I going to get rich off of my album?
Yes.
Okay, well, I will put I'll put that out there. Yay. But am I going to be attached to the outcome of that album if I don't get rich? Not a chance.
Yeah.
Those are things that were born of me. They're part of my very being. And sharing them and watching someone else enjoy it or even tear up on certain things, that's all the payment I need.
And that's celebrating a win right there. And that's not a small win. That's a huge win. Whenever you see someone that gets that emotional effect from one of your songs and you made their day brighter and stuff.
Yeah.
That's not a small one. That's a huge win, and celebrate the huge wins as well. So because I'm saying celebrate the small wins doesn't mean that, of course, celebrate the medium or huge wins, but it just to celebrate the small stuff too. It's a process, it's a journey, and that helps us move forward. But the reason I was smiling so much is you brought up the word kingdom, and I've forgotten what regards, but one thing I wanted to bring up is like one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is Luke. It's chapter 12:32. It's your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom.
Yes. Oh gosh.
And I think a non-metaphysical thinking of that would be like, it's your Father's, it's God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom whenever you die and go to heaven.
Oh, but yeah, no. God, stop putting conditions on God. They ain't going to fit.
And I feel blessed to have like realized whenever I was 17, I just kind of had an awakening. I suppose it was a metaphysical awakening, and I don't think I was necessarily familiar with that specific scripture. I've read the Bible a few times, but I think it's God's great pleasure to give you the kingdom right here, right now, where you are. Like, you are allowed to be happy. You are allowed to have everything that you want and need right here in this right moment. Right. Sure, the conditions might not be there quite yet, but by working certain steps, I feel, at least personally, through what I've experienced, I felt like I've been able to get closer to that. Mm-hmm. Maybe not necessarily achieve nirvana. I mean, like that's a beautiful idea. There's times where, I'm human and I feel sadness and I feel... other emotions that are not in my other human emotions that are maybe not the brightest, and that's okay. We're all human. Yeah. So one thing that has allowed me to get to that kind of mindset of like it's God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom is gratitude.
Oh boy, there's a good one. Take it on, Eric.
All right. So I can't say I'm currently in the practice, but I need to get back in the practice of taking my morning runs. For a few good years, I was taking my morning runs. Nothing too... I'd say maybe morning jogs.
There you go.
I don't want to go too far.
Whatever.
Because the point of the jog wasn't for... Well, it was part exercise, to be honest. But the main part of it was just, these are my gratitude runs. Things for me in the morning just to wake up, just be like, all right, my heart's beating, my breath is flowing, my legs are going.
Yeah.
Might not necessarily be the way I want to be, but hey, at least my body's able to carry me. Like, hey, I'm able to pay my my car off.
Oh yeah.
I'm able to make my mortgage. I have a good woman in my life.
Yes, you do.
I sure do.
Yes, you do. Wow.
I have a church that loves and supports me.
Yep. Oh, brother.
I have friends and just things that fill my heart with warmth and gratitude. And overall, for maybe those of you who don't have some of those things, you might be like, oh, that sounds like so extraordinary. But each of those things are small wins. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that each of those small wins builds to a large win. Mm-hmm. And if you're struggling with this, my encouragement with you is just try to just be grateful for those small wins, one thing at a time, even if it's just, hey, I survived today,
right?
Like I'm back home and like I'm alive,
right?
Okay, that's great. Or
with our weather, that's a big thing sometimes,
right? Oh, that was another thing I wanted to bring up. Yeah, so. For those of you who've been affected by the most recent Hurricane Helene, our hearts go out to you.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I've been seeing certain people on YouTube, certain people I follow, making those small wins. People who are not necessarily in like humanitarian work, but like who have then decided like to take their YouTube channels and just say, hey, instead of doing an episode today, I'm just going to go out to the food bank or go out to a store and pick up all these supplies for these people and go out to the places that are most affected, and that's certainly not a small win, but each of those individual steps, like, hey, I'm going to go to the store, I'm going to pick up all this stuff. Each of those things are small wins that then multiply and become something way bigger than just the individual components of this. So we are very grateful to everyone who has been helping out
100%.
in that situation.
Yes, God bless you. Thank you so much. Living in Florida, I don't want to say that we're used to hurricanes and tropical storms, but we kind of sort of are.
Yeah, we are.
But, that which has happened into the mountains of North Georgia and North Carolina, and our hearts go out to you. I wanted to say that when you are down in and out, and when I'm down feeling small, the best thing that you can do is to go out and do something for somebody else, because it makes you feel so much better. Send $5 to the American Red Cross. Send $10 to the food bank. Whatever. Walk out and see if your neighbors are okay. Get out of your head. The tiny steps for you to help yourself is for you to get out of your head and get into a point of being gracious.
That's right. Oh, super powerful.
Yeah. And, the more that you choose to create this sort of pattern of outreach, suddenly you got a whole brand new habit. And suddenly you feel a whole lot better about yourself.
That's a big part of making these small wins, is establishing a habit of succeeding.
Right.
And, they might not be the super huge wins that you see at the end of the finish line, but each of these little goals and achievements lead to a habit that eventually make you, reach that. And by doing this habit each time, you also improve your confidence, your self-esteem. You feel like, hey, I'm actually making a difference. I may not necessarily know if I have enough food to eat this week, but at least I'm going to that or that food pantry, and I'm helping cook these meals and helping other people, and it comes back around.
Absolutely. What you give is given back to you in many different blessings, many different ways. You must be open to receive it, though.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's a big part of it.
Are you open to receive your blessing? There's a new one.
Before I get into that, you can't outgive God.
Nope.
So something to keep in mind. So give as much as your heart feels right, and you will be given back in multitudes back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
110%.
But yeah, that's another issue, being able to receive God's goodness.
That's been a problem for me for a very long time.
And a lot of times those issues, they ultimately come from a source of fear. It seems like all the negative ultimately comes from fear. And parts of fear are like guilt, not feeling I'm enough.
I'm not worthy.
Not worthy, yeah. Worthiness, yeah.
Boy, oh boy. I'll just say that for a lot of women, and this has been my experience in assisting others, okay, but for a lot of women, probably men too.
I'm glad that you're bringing up women's issues, because I brought up men's issues a couple episodes again, and I think it's important to recognize certain issues that maybe one gender goes through more than another. And of course, this is just our perceptions. Everyone has their own experiences and stuff, but yeah, please speak upon what you have experienced.
So we have a problem, and it is a problem, where we choose, or we have been taught to put ourselves on the back burner. Okay, and we go and we do, and we're gracious, we're kind, we're loving, we're doing all of the things that we're supposed to do. But when someone wants to come back and do for you, what's the first thing you say? Oh, no. That's not necessary. No, go ahead, share that with somebody else. I have learned, please trust me on this, there has to be an exchange of energy in the universe.
Sure.
If you are going to give love, if somebody wants to give back to you, let them. Otherwise, you're blocking their love. Powerful stuff. Very, very hard for me because I am the tool giver, the tool bringer, the talk to this, do that, reach out, blah, blah, blah. And here, well, Barbara, I'd like to do, no, really. Oh, yes, okay. Because I got guides screaming in my ears now. Barbara, receive it with love.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, if you're not able to receive someone's love, you are the who wants to honorably give it and give it in full intention, then that hurts that person because they're like, I'm trying to give you this love and you're just not accepting
you're blocking me.
You're blocking it. And that causes hurt not only on the recipient but also the giver.
Mm-hmm. And you want to talk about these little things that start to add up? If you continually give and give and give and you block and you give and you block, all of a sudden you have this feeling within you that I'm just not worthy. I'm not receiving what God has brought for me because you've been blocking it. It's been coming.
Oh, that reminds me of a dear friend and reverend that we have at our church gave a talk about this probably about 6 months ago about not being able to receive a compliment.
No, brother,
and this is a person that I admire so much. I feel like he is just like,
yes.
He's a hero in so many ways.
Right.
And to hear him say that, like, I had trouble being able to receive a compliment, like...
Yeah, you're like, really? Wow.
Someone deserving of so many compliments.
Right.
But, that just shows the human condition and that... we're all dealing with our own things. Even the people who seem the most perfect, they're all dealing with the same, or not the same things, but they're all dealing with things. And they might not be the same things that you and I are dealing with, or you're dealing with and I'm dealing with, but everyone has their own issues, and we're all human.
Right.
I guess that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to say. So it was really refreshing to hear him say that. And after the talk, I said, I think you did a really great job. And you know what he said? Thank you. And I was like...
That's all you have to do is say thank you. You made me think of something else, Eric, and that is, as a human, we've been preconditioned. Preconditioned by the way our parents grew up or were generationally predisposed to all of these things that they did in the old days. And, we have to be willing to say, thank you so much for sharing. And I love what you've shared with me, but go ahead and do what's yours to do anyway. You have to love yourself. You have got to allow those compliments to come back to you, or you're going to be completely lopsided energetically.
That's right.
That is no way to walk through life. Lopsided. And then you become, as we talked in the last episode, you become very easily hurtable.
Right. We don't want that to happen.
No, we don't. We want balance in this life. And that is why when you give, be willing to receive. Your thank you is enough.
That's right.
I have to tell you, this is how bad it was when I was a kid. I started singing in church by myself about the age of 15. It would be 16, actually, because I was able to drive. And I would sing my song, make my dad so proud. And but before church was over, and the preacher would still be talking, I'm chugging down the stairs and I'm running out the door and I'm getting my car and I'm leaving. I didn't want anybody to talk to me and tell me anything. I don't want them to compliment me. I didn't know what to say. Let me sing, let me go. I never gave anybody an opportunity to say or share anything with me.
Oh, wow.
I zinged out the door.
Why do you think that was?
I didn't know how to receive, Eric. I had no earthly clue, and I was so uncomfortable in my skin at that point You know, when you've got a gift and people are kind of gushing over you, when you're younger like that, you become embarrassed by it.
I don't know if anyone really teaches you how to receive that. Like in church, we're taught to be generous givers,
right?
But a lot of times the inverse is not always as explicitly expressed as far as being generous receivers.
Never have I heard that. Not ever, not once. That is one of those little things that I had to glean along the way. And it's like, Barbara, stand still so they can say something to you. And I'm like, okay. Thank you. It was like stabbing me with little forks. Thank you. Because in my mind...
Cost you more anxiety than the performance itself. The performance was easy, and it's just like... Accepting the compliments is like,
no. Because you know what? In my mind, I didn't do that great. I would count the boo-boos, and I was not I was very unworthy when I was younger. I had a lot of things going on, and that unworthiness would not allow someone else's authenticity to come through to give me a compliment that they really truly meant. But I felt like they just had to say that because my dad's listening.
Yeah. Oh. Unworthiness is one of the most harshest sides of fear, and I think we're going to have to address that specific part of fear in a future episode.
Yes.
Because that's something that personally I felt a lot of in my life, and it seems like you have as well. And
running out the back door.
I would imagine others have as well too. So
yeah,
we'll definitely tackle that one.
Well, you know,
with love.
Exactly. With lots of everything's always about the love. Mm-hmm. Our show is to find the love, get rid of the fear, and give tools for everyday living as a spiritual being in a human condition. That's who we are and what we do.
You know, I think that fear is just a man-made illusion. Mm-mm. But there's parts of fear that make sense. Like if a lion's about to eat you, then like you fight or flight, that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe it's just the fear of the unknown.
The fear of the fear.
Fear of the fear. Yes. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Fear of the unknown is huge. It will keep you sidelined your whole life if you are if you're afraid of being afraid, or the fear overwhelms you and keeps you from moving on. Like when I was 16, I could not allow these people to tell me that because that they're just saying that, you know. You're so messed up when you're little and so many things happen to you, and you know, I didn't have anybody to show me any different. You know, and I was extra, I was extra special different because I felt like I was an alien and I didn't belong on this planet because I was not like everybody else. I was adopted and I had my own really high energy and ways of doing this, and I was adopted to the most beautiful, wonderful parents. But they were so calm, cool, and collected. And just, you know, they're exactly what I needed at the time. But my energy was on constant, not go, but run. You know, and there's so many things with kids. And especially kids with abilities that's a whole nother
I'm writing it down
show.
Right now.
How to deal with children with their natural abilities. These are from God. You know, these little tiny things that they are showing you and they're trying to be, we have to allow.
Instead of squashing them out of fear.
Right. Fear is nothing but pain. You just don't know what pain it is yet.
Oof, powerful.
Don't like it.
Yeah, so celebrating the small wins. I mean, if you're feeling down and out in a low place, my encouragement is just, you know, start from gratitude from something simple that you have. And if you're alive today, you have your breath.
Yay.
Might not be the strongest breath, but you have a breath, right?
Mm-hmm.
So say,
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for being able to breathe in and out.
Can you?
You're here, right?
I'm sorry.
Please.
I just imagine, especially today, and all of the chaos around us, how grateful you are just to have a roof over your head.
Yes.
You know, I saw one of the most amazing things. If you go to, on Facebook, Animal Prayer, wait a minute, what's it called?
Animal Planet, maybe?
No. Animal Prayer Chain.
Okay.
Okay. That's actually one of mine. But I put up there, this man had these mules. They could not get vehicles over these mountains. So this man packed these mules with all kinds of provisions, and he coerced those mules up and over that mountain and brought all of these goods to these people. And I sat there and wept. I just wept. Animal Prayer Chain. It'll be on there still if you go and look at it. It's just the absolute kindest, sweetest, simplest gestures. You know, people, you got a mule, you know, the horse smell. No. Love a mule. Love what you have.
Yes. Love what you have.
And appreciate what God gifts you, because you never know what's coming right around the next corner. God forbid it's another Helene.
Yep. You know, we're all given different things in this life, different, you know, hand of cards, but it's kind of how we work with that. And I feel like there's a parable in the Bible as far as that, to where the father gives like each of the sons some amount of money, and one does nothing with it, like keeps it all, and so the father gives him nothing. The other does a little bit with it, gives him something, and the person who does a lot with it gets a whole bunch. Right. And when I learned about that parable at the beginning, I was like, this seems like unfair. Like, shouldn't the father just give like each of his sons the same thing? But I think what the parable is trying to teach is that, like, if you try more and are doing the most with what you're given, then you're given more. But if you don't do anything with what you're given, then you're not given anything. And if you do a little bit with something, you're given a little bit. So, you know, depending on what deck of what hand of cards you receive in this life, and of course it's not fair. We talked about that earlier. Life is not fair, but it's we still have the free will and decision to decide on how we want to deal with that deck of cards, even if it's, you know, a couple 2s, 3s, and 4s. You could still do something with that powerful. You can still get to the next level, and by celebrating those small wins along the hand, you then increase that muscle of of achieving something, which then in turn gets your self-esteem up, which then gets your motivation up, and then others start seeing that in your life, and they're like, what is that person doing? I want some of that.
How did you get that new habit?
And they're attracted to you, and then you start teaching them how to do that, and then it's a cascading effect.
Yeah.
I mean, easier said than done, but it's just, you know, I guess one step at a time, and just celebrating those small wins.
What was that musical? You put one foot in front of the other. Oh, that's a Christmas show. Never mind. Soon you'll be walking out the door. Anyway, but you've got to move.
That's a great analogy. In order to get out the door, if it's 20 feet away, you got to take one step at a time to, you know, get out that door. So.
And soon you'll be coming back for more. Is how it ends. Yeah, love it.
So once again, easier said than done. All this takes, you know, dedication and persistence and faith in the process.
Yes, and God in the middle of all things always.
Yeah, you just keep God in it. Keep your friends around, even if you only have, you know, one or two. Just, you know, keeping connection is so important in this life, and being able to succeed.
You're never, ever, ever alone.
Yes.
Ever. And even if you feel like you have no one to talk to, there's someone on an 800 line that wants to hear from you.
Absolutely.
To help you through.
And you know, for someone who might be not wanting or resistant to wanting to do that, being like, oh, I'm just going to bother them, I'm going to do this. The person on the other end of the 800 line, that's their gift. That's their talent.
Right.
That's like what they're here on this planet to do is to help those who are in need, and by doing that then uplifts them. So you're doing them a benefit by contacting them. So it's not like you're burdening them or giving them a disservice.
No.
You're just making their day by letting their gift shine. So it's a very unselfish thing to ask for help, because there's people that generally want to give that help, and that's their purpose.
Yeah. Nine times out of 10, when you've got somebody who is that excited and loves what they're doing, is because they've been where someone else has been before.
Ooh,
somebody talked to them, somebody gave them a hand up, and it is their joy to pay it back. So give them a call.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
And who knows, maybe one day after you make it out, and you will make it out of this circumstance, this low point, and you'll get back up on that valley, maybe you'll be inspired then to help someone else.
Amen.
And by then, your trajectory is just going to go up and up and up by being of service to others.
Right.
You were mentioning, I forget if it was this episode or the last episode, we were talking about the importance of, like, if you're feeling really down and low, one of the best things that you can do is just help someone else out in need.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that will, in turn, make you feel better.
It does. It really, really does. The human condition is truly out to help one another, love one another, be sweet and kind and joyful with one another. And then God bless them, and then we go home.
Yeah. Another thing, for those of you who are capable, if you're feeling down and out, take a walk.
Yeah.
Just take a walk, as you're mentioning, and that's that song, one step in front of the other.
You put one foot in front of the other. Yeah. Get your momentum moving.
Mm-hmm.
Gets you out of the middle of your head. The problem that we face a lot of the time is when we sit and we ruminate and we ruminate and we ruminate, and then we think about it again and we ruminate some more. Get outside, take a walk your dog, go kiss your neighbor on the forehead, go sweep off their sidewalk. Do something to get yourself out of your head. Promise you. This I know.
Yep, and there's a book you can check out by Tom Hartman called Walking Your Blues Away, so it might be something that might be beneficial to you. Just
great idea.
And speaking of which, your album is called The
Divine Blues.
It's also another way to get you uplifted. I love your songs. They're a mix of, really inspirational songs, as well as, fun songs, as well as some funny songs as well too. So something that will wash the blues away. But in terms of the blues, it's just more like the blues type of music.
Yeah. The good old home, make you feel like you want to, go sit and listen to some good blues, kind of blues.
Yeah, and that's what I like about the blues genre. Like not all blues music is sad. Like,
no.
Some of it can be like, like I lost my dog, lost my woman type of thing. But
yeah, no.
Other blues is just fun and just like makes you feel like you're back home with family and friends and
Got the old Jones for the blues.
That's right. One of your best tracks on there.
Yep. And so go listen to the blues and you're all of a sudden feeling all kinds of better, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yay.
So please know that you are loved. You are a child of the most divine God, and you have a purpose. You have a purpose. And we're really excited to see how you are going to express that purpose in this life here. So on that end, we're going to go ahead and leave you with the prayer for protection, one of the most powerful prayers that you can give to yourself or to someone else. So let's go for it.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God. Thank you.
Thank you, God. We look forward to seeing you in episode 11. Take
Bye-bye.
care.